Okay, this presentation is to do with looking at batch files and automating processes. Now, normally you can get away with this by the fact that you possibly may be only using one template. So you might use one template for the role manager, and you might use one template for the compression manager, and life is easy because when you go into the update manager's API, it will run that each time it updates the data. Now, if you're in a position where you need more than one compression manager template or role manager template, and you wish to have that automate your processes in a multi-template environment, you can't do that with the current setup within Portara. What you need to do is create a batch file and point to that batch file and have that batch file run with each of your templates in, which will update each template in order of the batch file as and when the daily updates come through from Portara. So that's what we're about to demonstrate here. Now, this is an advanced feature within Portara, so if you don't understand any of the concepts from the role manager and compression manager before we move into the production of the batch file, then go back and view the other hints and tips and other videos in this collection. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is open the role manager, create a template and create some data. So we've got the British pound as our example here, so we right click and we create a deferred symbol copy. If you don't understand that, look at the other hints and tips videos, and then we're going to change the template to an alternative template for one of those British pound symbols, and we're going to now create a template, and we'll call this one BP test. Now notice that there's no gaps in here, so it's BP test with no space, and that's important when you are using a batch file. You can't have a gap in there, so make sure that you don't have gaps in your template names. So we're going to save that template, okay, and then close the role manager. Okay, next we need to deal with the compression managers. We'll start with the daily, and you don't have to, it's optional whether to use the standard daily compression manager or not, and you can set a template or create a template. We'll put this one to trading blocks daily and apply it just for the sake of this test. Select your data, and we're going to run that data. Happy days, and now that's closed. And now with the compression manager intraday template, we will open that up and drag it in. Make sure your data is selected. And what we're going to do first of all is look at some session times. So we're going to go in here and create a couple of templates. Again, if you don't understand what I'm doing, go back and see the other videos, and you'll see here now BPD01. Okay, so we'll keep 0720 to 1400 as our first variant, and on our second one we'll put something like 0600 to 1300. Okay, and we're going to call this template, let's say test123. And again, don't have any spaces. If it looks like this, then that's wrong. It won't work with batch files like that. Test123, and save the template. And then what we'll do is we'll create another template, and we'll have this going from 0500 so we can see the difference, and we'll have that going up to 1600, let's say, as an example, and this one from say 4 o'clock in the morning all the way out to let's see 1618. That'll do as an example, and we'll right click and we'll save that as test 456 and save that template. Okay, so now we've got test 123 and test 456. We can change and view those like that. Alright, now make sure if you are going to make changes to those two templates, if you click off this, let's say save, you'll notice that when we go in, it saved the last state here. So what we want to do, if we make changes, we need to make changes to the template. So you need to select the template you need to make changes to first, so apply it, and then make your changes, and then obviously then save it. Alright, don't be fooled into just saving to the last state. You need to select your template first. Okay. Right, okay, so the next step is then you can choose which template to actually run with. So we'll choose test 1, 2, 3 to run with first. So we can set up any settings here. We can make this sticky, for instance. In fact, let's not do that for a minute. Let's put it on let's do daily, and what we'll do is we'll set that to daily, and we'll create this as our daily RTH, regular trading hours data. Now, again, if you don't understand this, look at the help files and the other videos. So this daily RTH and daily was set with a test 1, 2, 3 template. We can give this a name just with these two symbols if we wish, and a good idea would be to call this test 1, 2, 3 as well. Okay, so it all lines up. And we could even call it test 1, 2, 3 BP if you wanted, if you were just playing around with those symbols. And again, we're just creating a couple of templates so I can show you how to use the batch file processes later on. So we're going to save that template. Okay, and now you might say, well, actually we want some intraday data as well, so we're going to say intraday. We don't want that sticky this time. You might just want it to be intraday and use the settings by Portara, and even by clicking again, taking that sticky off and using 010. Okay, when you're happy, you might say, well, look, this time we don't want test 1, 2, 3 template, we want test 4, 5, 6, and now we need to save it to another template. We'll call this one test 4, 5, 6. You don't have to call it that. You can call it whatever pleases you, and we'll save that template. Okay, now what we've got in here, if we go and choose between test 4, 5, 6 and test 1, 2, 3 and we apply it, you'll see that the pathways and all the users variables are shown to you. And if we go again into test 4, 5, 6, we can see that now all the variables are set up, so we are ready to go. Now, we could create streams here and create variants of that if we want manually, but what we need to do is look at how to create the batch file now to be able to run those templates each time the CQG data is ready and Portara updates. So that's what we're going to look at now. And the first thing to be said about using command line and batch files is make sure that you read thoroughly the help files. This is the basic use, and then the advanced use down here, and it shows you exactly how to do this and how to use the syntax, which I'm going to go through this in a minute, but please make sure that you fully understand what's going on in here, because everything is answered in the help files for you to be able to utilize. Okay, the next stage is the creation of the bat file. Now, if you don't know what a bat file is, I'm going to explain that to you and how to populate it and to work properly. There is Portara bat. Okay, now if you change the extension of bat to txt, or if you're starting from scratch, if you create, just right click and create a new text document. It's as simple as that. Open up your text document. Let me drag that in, and basically you write in just follow the help file. So you need this timeout syntax at the top is just to count. It counts 5 seconds before it operates through the code, and this is the order that you need to have things in. This is going to open Portara chart, so follow that syntax and look again in the help files. Now, the only bit that you really need to change is this sort of minus role or negative role, and then this you've got this colon, and then in this respect we've got BP test, if you remember, was the name of the template for the role manager. Now, it will work if we got rid of that and you didn't have a template set. It would still operate. It would just open the last state if that is the case. I'm going to put that back in, and then what it's going to do is it's going to complete this role here, and then it's going to come and operate the next command in the batch file, which is to open up the daily compression manager. And note, in this case there isn't a template attached, it's just going to use the last state. If you wanted a template, but we didn't set one, it's colon and then whatever your template name is there. And then what it's going to do is then operate the third line, which is to open the compression intraday manager. And if you notice, it says colon, and then this name here, test 1 2 3, is the name of the overall template that we gave the name to. And then you'll see the semicolon next here, and then what this does, the words following the semicolon is the name of the session template we set, and in this case we set it to test 1 2 3, and also the session template to test 1 2 3 as well. So just note that that is a semicolon. It will also work if we got rid of that. It would then just open the test 1 2 3 main template and apply the last state session template in there. But it always is best to be absolute and tell it what to do. And then the last piece of code in the batch file is to run the test 456 template with the test 456 session template as well. And basically all you do is you file, save that, and you can close that down. What I'll do is I'll leave that open on the other screen for now, and all you do then is portara.txt, change the extension of that to BAT, and that's it, you're ready to go. Okay, so we've created our batch file, and now what we want to do is we're going to copy and paste that into this program files Portara charts. Now you can have the batch file somewhere else, but you need to read the help files about how to do that, because there's slightly different syntax to do that operation. I'd suggest that you leave it there, and if you want to change your batch file, just change the extension to txt, make your changes and put it back to BAT again, and that's all there is to the creation of the batch file. So we're now ready to operate that particular batch file. So I'm going to reduce that, and I'm going to go down to this auto polar here, and I'm going to open this and show you. Now this version is slightly different than the version you have. This is a debug version, so it allows me to just go in here and actually ping for a zone 1 update, just for the sake of this demonstration. Obviously you'd wait your side until zone 1 finished, or whatever zone you're interested in, to actually ping it, but this is a manual ping just so you can see what's about to happen. Alright, so I'm going to leave that again and come back to that in a minute. Now I'm just going to firstly open Portara charts, because I want to show you first how to set up the pathway to your batch file, so at the time when it updates the data it knows what to do. Okay, now I'm also going to show you just quickly, let me pull that in, the splash screen. There's a delay on the splash screen of 3 or 4 seconds. Now if you're using it for a batch file, you might want to make that delay so it's instantaneous. So what you can do there is, where it says here no fade on user interface, okay, it will come up with no fade, so it'll be faster to open for you with this checked. Alright, so if you wish to do that, do so. Then into Update Manager and CQG Daily Update Service, let me drag that in, and Tools, Auto Updates API, and let me drag that in as well. And we're dealing with here with zone 1, so you don't need roll, compress intraday and compress daily. They're only if you're using singular templates. So what we want to do for zone 1 is we're going to come here and just click this and point to Portara charts as Portara batch file, okay, and when we see the batch file, there it is, okay, we just say open, and there we'll see, if we just open that, it's now pointing to the batch file and ready to go on zone 1. So each zone you can have them different if you wish, or on all zones have just a common one down here, but again you don't need to use these if you're in a batch file situation. That'll just add a layer of complexity to it. You can do it, you could of course have it roll if it's just one roll and only in the batch file have the compression template set, so it's up to you. You know, there's enough flexibility there to make that powerful enough for your own investigations. So now I'm going to close that, and that's done, and close that down, and that's done. Just before I do that, if you do a manual update, it's not going to look at this API. It won't carry on and do the batch file here, because it's a manual update. You've got to do that manually. It will only do it if you're using it with the auto updates. Okay, so remember that. Let me switch that off and switch that off now. Everything is ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to simulate a zone 1 ping for Portara to open and then read that batch file that we've just pointed to. Okay, so if I go to zone 1 here and ping zone 1, okay, it's now going to open Portara. So I'm going to sit back and allow that to happen and sort of narrate you through it. So there's the welcome screen for Portara charts, and firstly it's going to open up the update manager. Now I know zone 1 doesn't contain the British pound, but by example here it's just to show you what happens. So first of all, the data is going to update itself, so let's wait for that to happen. And there's the zone 1 intraday data coming through now, and the zone 1 daily data. And then what that's going to do is it's going to close down completely. Okay, and there we've got your batch file is now processing. Let me put that there. So it's now going to look at this role BP test to begin with, and it's going to reopen Portara charts. And now if you notice, I'm not interfering with that at all. This is an auto process. Let me just drag that in if I can. It's slightly out of the view of the top of the screen there, sadly, but you can see what I mean. So there, if I pull that one down, it's now looking at BP and BP01, and you look at the name of the template there is BP test, which is correct. So it's going to run this particular role manager template according to the settings in your batch file, and then it will process the next command, which is now it's saying to open the daily compression manager, which it's now going to do. And again, you can see it's just stuck here at the top. I'm just going to pull that in, and you can see there that the template will, oh, it was the last state. It's that fast, it's done it without the explanation. It's done that one. So now it's on the compress intraday with the test 1, 2, 3 and the test 1, 2, 3 sessions template, and it's now opening up that. And again, I'm not interfering with this in any way. The only thing I'm going to do is just pull that down into view, and you'll see it's the test 1, 2, 3 template and the test 1, 2, 3 template here too, and there's your pathway and there's your data. It's done, and I'll have to talk quicker to fit all this in. And now the final one is compress intraday test 456 test 456 in the batch file, and Portara opens, and the test 456, which I'm going to pull down. There's the template, there's the template again, there's the 10 minutes, there's all the details of your template, there's the 2 symbols, and it will process and then go to completion. And then Portara will close and the update will complete. Your batch file's complete and everything now is complete. Okay, thank you.